Samsung Electronics workers have approved a tentative wage agreement with 73.7% support, clearing the way for a final union management deal. Marking the 31st Ocean Day on Wednesday, President Lee Jae-myung pledged to secure freedom of navigation and defend an open trade order. Also in Busan, he called for thorough preparations ahead of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee meeting. Seoul's foreign ministry said Iran-made missiles were likely behind the attack on the South Korean vessel Namu in the Strait of Hormuz, while urging Tehran to take steps to prevent a further incident. The government says evidence points to Iran-developed missiles in the recent attack on the HMM Namu, a Korean ship in the Strait of Hormuz. And Seoul is demanding an apology from Tehran. Our Oh Seung has the latest.
Iranian anti-ship missiles were likely used in the attack that set a Korean vessel ablaze in the Strait of Hormuz earlier this month, prompting Seoul to lodge a strong protest and request an apology from Tehran. At a briefing Wednesday, First Vice Foreign Minister Park Yun-ju unveiled the results of a government probe into the attack on the HMM Namu. The Korean vessel was anchored near UAE waters inside the Strait of Hormuz on May 4th, when it was struck twice by unidentified aerial objects. The government says debris recovered from the vessel included components resembling an Iranian-made Tolu-4 turbojet engine, along with markings believed to be from an Iranian manufacturer. The warhead was also found to resemble those used in Iran's Noor or Qadr anti-ship missiles. Officials added that unexploded high-explosive material was identified, while the fuselage debris was painted sky blue, matching the coating and color used on Iran's Noor series anti-ship missiles.
Circuit board debris is estimated to have been produced around 20 to 30 years ago, and based on that production period, it is highly likely to be an older model Noor missile. Technical analysis concluded the unidentified aerial objects were highly likely to be Iran-developed Noor series anti-ship missiles. The probe also found the projectiles approached from the stern, while the vessel was anchored with its stern facing roughly 156 degrees toward Iran.
Park said Seoul would summon the Iranian ambassador, convey a strong protest, and demand an apology, along with responsible measures to prevent a recurrence. With Tehran having denied involvement, Park said it remains difficult to determine whether the attack was intentional or to identify the exact actor behind it. Still, a military official said there appeared to be an intention to cause damage.
While we cannot definitively determine the attacker's intent, from a naval and operational standpoint, firing 2 missiles instead of 1 strongly suggests an intention to inflict damage.
The ambassador arrived at the foreign ministry at around 6:20 p.m. and as he left, denied all allegations, saying Iran had not been involved. Seoul says diplomatic communication with Tehran continues as it works to ensure the safety of Korean nationals and vessels and the free and safe navigation of ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Oh Seung, Arirang News.
In other news, Samsung Electronics now has a new wage system, as over half of its unionized workers have voted in favor of the deal reached between management officials and labor representatives last week. Our business correspondent Park Jun-han has the details.
Following a 6-day voting period that wrapped up on Wednesday morning, Samsung Electronics' tentative 2026 wage agreement has been officially approved. The joint union negotiation team announced on Wednesday morning that the deal passed with a 73.7% approval, securing over 46,000 votes in favor. Under union rules, the agreement required participation from at least half of the eligible voters and a majority approval to pass. The vote cleared those requirements, recording a final turnout of 95.5%. The two sides agreed on a 6.2% average wage increase, along with expanded welfare benefits like a new company housing loan system worth up to 500 million Korean won, or roughly $333,000. The core of this new deal is introducing a brand new special management bonus for the Device Solutions, or DS, the company's semiconductor and electronic components division. Funded with 10.5% of agreed business performance earnings, the bonus comes with no ceiling on payouts and will be paid entirely in company stock after taxes. With brokerage firms estimating Samsung Electronics could post massive operating profits reaching up to 300 trillion won this year, the payouts could be historic. If that forecast holds, employees in high-performance units like the memory chip division could receive combined bonuses worth up to 600 million won, or roughly $400,000. Even employees in non-memory semiconductor businesses, including the system LSI and foundry divisions, are projected to receive around 210 million won in combined bonuses. Following the vote, Samsung's union and management have already made the terms of the deal official, formally signing the documents after months of negotiations. Park Junan, Arirang News.
Local stocks extended their rally on Wednesday, with the KOSPI surging to a new 8,400 high, as SK hynix also entered the $1 trillion market cap club amid the ongoing AI chip boom. Cha Yun-kyung has more.
South Korea's benchmark KOSPI surged nearly 5% at market open on Wednesday on the back of a sharp tech-driven market rally and went to a record high of 8,450. It opened at 8,242.12, up 194.61 points, or 2.42%, and further extended its gains. Then, the Korea Exchange temporarily paused trading on its main board after the opening bell. According to the KRX, a buy-side sidecar was activated at approximately 9:06 a.m., suspending KOSPI futures buy orders for 5 minutes. A buy-side sidecar is triggered whenever the KOSPI 200 futures index surges by 5% or more and holds that level for at least 1 minute. The KOSPI closed at 8,228.70. The relentless rally in the memory chip sector is gaining traction, propelling the market values of both Micron Technology and SK hynix past the $1 trillion milestone for the first time. On the New York Stock Exchange, the U.S. memory chip maker Micron Technology skyrocketed nearly 20% on Tuesday local time, pushing its market capitalization past $1 trillion. Meanwhile, South Korea's SK hynix crossed the 1,600 trillion won mark in market capitalization, becoming the second domestic company after Samsung Electronics to join the $1 trillion global club. According to the company's market cap, a website tracking global market capitalizations, Samsung Electronics and SK hynix rank 11th and 12th respectively among the world's most valuable companies. Micron came 14th. Investors and analysts expect memory shortages to last in the near future, giving them unusual pricing power over the world's largest technology companies. Cha Yun-kyung, Arirang News.
The number of newborns in the first quarter of this year reached its highest level in 7 years, driven in part by a rise in marriages over the past 2 years and an increase in the population of women in their 30s. A report from the Ministry of Data and Statistics on Wednesday showed that the number of newborns exceeded 75,000. That is up nearly 15% from a year earlier. The average number of babies a woman is expected to have also rose to 0.95 in the first quarter, up 0.12% from the same period last year. Now, in March alone, more than 25,000 babies were born, marking an increase of nearly 20% year-on-year. Korea's corporate business sentiment rose for the third month in a row in May to hit its highest in well over 3 years. According to the Bank of Korea on Wednesday, the Composite Business Sentiment Index reached 98.9, up 4 points on month, driven by stellar chip exports and a relatively stable supply of raw materials. The figure marked the highest reading since October 2022, when the index hit 99, and it was also the largest on-month gain since May 2023. BOK data also showed positive CBSI outlooks for June across both manufacturing and non-manufacturing sectors. Korea moves into a 6-day polling blackout period on Thursday, barring the release of new election surveys ahead of voting day. Our An Sung-jin breaks down what the latest polls reveal about voter sentiment. Sung-jin, what did the latest polls say about voter preferences so far?
With just days to go before Korea's local elections, we now enter a polling blackout. Starting from May 28th, publishing or quoting new opinion polls is strictly banned. Now, this is done to ensure a fair race. But before that, let's turn to some poll figures in key battlegrounds as we look at some razor-thin margins. Now, for this Seoul mayoral race, the ruling Democratic Party candidate Jung Won-ho leads at 42%, with the main opposition People Power Party's incumbent mayor Oh Se-hoon chasing at 36%. This 6 percentage point gap sits tightly within the margin of error. Crucially, nearly 20% of voters remain undecided, meaning these fence-sitters may decide the capital. Now let's turn to Daegu, another fierce battleground. The DP's Kim Boo-kyum holds 42%, while the PPP's Chu Kyung-ho is right on his heels at 38%. Again, an 18% undecided bloc keeps this race entirely up for grabs. Meanwhile, the story changes in Busan. The DP's Jeon Jae-soo has secured an outside-the-margin lead at 46%, comfortably ahead of the PPP's Park Hyung-jun at 34%. Candidates have just under a week left to win over a massive chunk of undecided voters, but why do these polls matter so much? Historically, final pre-blackout polls have accurately mirrored the final results. Take the 2022 Seoul mayoral race, where the PPP's Oh Se-hoon cruised to a 20 percentage point victory, which almost exactly matched the final polls. The story was the same in 2018, when the DP's Park Won-soon won by nearly 30 percentage points. But polls aren't always a crystal ball, and that is why attention is focused on winning over voters. For these local elections, the mayoral races, alongside high-stakes parliamentary by-elections in Pyeongtaek and Busan Bukgap, are sitting well within the margin of error. Predicting this election is uniquely difficult, as following the former president's impeachment, independent and moderate voters have surged. Shy voters who hide their true leanings from polls may also emerge as a key variable. The 6-day blackout aims to prevent inaccurate polls from unfairly swaying voters. All eyes are now glued to how public sentiment will shift during this blackout period to influence next week's ballot box.
President Lee Jae-myung will hold a press conference next month marking 1 year in office. It'll be held at 10 a.m. on June 8th at the Blue House, according to Senior Presidential Secretary for Public Relations Lee Kyu-yeon. The president is expected to take a look back at the past year and unveil key policy visions for the year ahead. The Blue House also said the key visual for the event will be a light symbolizing democracy and a road for all people. Around 160 reporters will be invited. Ahead of Ocean Day this Sunday, President Lee Jae-myung visited the southern port city of Busan, where he stressed the importance of freedom of navigation. Our Blue House correspondent Yoon Jung-min reports.
A front line that determines the survival and future of the nation. That was the assessment made by President Lee Jae-myung on the strategic importance of the ocean as he celebrated the 31st Ocean Day at an event on Wednesday in the southeastern port city of Busan.
글로벌 해양 통상 질서와 공급망이 재편되는 이 불확실성의 시대에 세계 경제의 핏줄인 바다의 안전과 주도권은 그 어느 때보다도 중요해졌습니다.
He went on to emphasize the importance of freedom of navigation.
대한민국은 유라시아와 인도 태평양을 잇는 중심축이 되어 주변국의 자유로운 항행과 열린 무역 질서를 수호할 것입니다.
President Lee promised to build a global maritime powerhouse, envisioned in 1996 by former President Kim Jong-un. He also vowed to nurture logistics and port businesses as national strategic industries and turn Busan into the country's maritime capital.
이는 대한민국이 치열한 글로벌 경쟁에서 살아남기 위한 생존 전략인 동시에 해양 강국의 비전을 일자리와 지역의 활력으로 직결시키는 균형 성장 전략의 핵심이기도 합니다.
The government plans to create a maritime cluster in Busan, encompassing related public institutions, a court specialized in maritime affairs, and a regional investment bank. South Korea observes Ocean Day on May 31st to highlight the importance and value of the ocean. Later in the day, President Lee was briefed on preparations for an upcoming meeting of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee in the port city. Noting the power of K-culture and K-heritage, he instructed officials to fully prepare public transport, accommodation, and safety of overseas guests. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
So with less than 2 months until the UNESCO World Heritage Committee meeting down in Busan City, global experts gathered on Wednesday to discuss geoheritage conservation and unveil a new Korea-led international declaration. Our Jong Hae-rim was there and follows this report.
Scientists and heritage experts from around the world gathered in Busan for an international symposium on Wednesday on the future of geoheritage conservation. Hosted by the Korea Heritage Service ahead of the 48th session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee, the event focused on the launch of the KGA Korea Declaration. KGA, or Key Geoheritage Areas, refers to the internationally significant geological site, including fossils, volcanic landscapes, and rock formations.
We reaffirm that geoheritage is not merely a remnant of the past, but a responsibility owed to future generations, and we hereby declare our collective commitment to protecting its value through the shared resolve and concerted action of the international community.
The symposium also highlighted the significance of Korea serving as a chair country for the upcoming UNESCO session.
Only a few countries in Asia have so far chaired the World Heritage Committee, so it's really, I think, special that Korea is now hosting. World Heritage meetings are 10 days. Sometimes sensitive political discussions. So the chairmanship, or the chairpersonship rather, has a big impact in influencing those decisions.
Experts also called for stronger international cooperation, saying geoheritage conservation should become a central part of global nature protection efforts. They added that the KGA initiative could help identify important natural heritage sites in countries that currently have none recognized by UNESCO. As Korea prepares to host this year's UNESCO World Heritage Committee meeting here in Busan, the KGA Korea Declaration establishes a new major global system to protect our planet's threatened geological history. Jong Hae-rim, Arirang News, Busan.
Officials from the Dominican Republic's Environment Ministry are visiting South Korea to study the country's climate adaptation strategies and national park management efforts firsthand. Our Kim Jong-un has the story.
A high-level delegation from the Dominican Republic's Environment Ministry has come to Korea. The group is here to learn about the country's national park management system and ICT-based climate response technologies through a training program beginning Tuesday at the Korea National Park Service.
Managing protected areas amid climate change is becoming a common challenge worldwide. Korea has responded by integrating ICT, and we hope to share that experience through this training.
The training, which runs for approximately 10 days, is part of an official development assistance program led by the Korea International Cooperation Agency. It seeks to strengthen the Dominican Republic's national park management capacity by sharing Korea's expertise and experience while deepening bilateral cooperation.
We started by asking how Korea's ICT strengths could be applied to partner countries. The goal is to help partner governments in developing countries better manage national parks while supporting sustainable development.
Environmental management is especially important for the Dominican Republic, where protected areas account for nearly 60% of the country's land.
Resource and environmental management are key to a sustainable economy in our country. Korea has been a close partner, and we hope to learn from its technology and apply it at home.
What drew the attention of the delegation most was the AI-based monitoring system. At this control tower, real-time data from national parks nationwide is monitored through intelligent CCTV and AI technology. This wildfire detection system uses AI to identify smoke and spot fire risks early. Last April, near a national park in Gangwon-do province, the system detected signs of a wildfire and issued an alert before fire authorities identified the threat. Satellite imagery and trail cameras are also used to access damage, monitor weather, and help locate missing hikers.
Both countries face a common challenge: protecting large, climate-vulnerable areas with limited manpower and resources. ICT technology makes management more efficient, allowing even a small workforce to manage wide areas more effectively.
Climate change and protecting nature are challenges shared across borders. Korea's data-driven method for managing nature is positioning itself as a new model for global development cooperation. Kim Jun-ho, Arirang News, Wonju.
On the day, Seoul announced plans to develop and build a nuclear-powered submarines, and North Korea launched a mixed batch of missiles. And the regime state-run media reported today what the missiles were. For more on this, we have our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung here in the studio. Welcome back, Bo-kyung.
Thanks for having me.
So, Bo-kyung, the North fired a wide range of missiles, right? Could you elaborate more on the missiles first?
Sure. With North Korean leader Kim Jong-un overseeing the test, North Korea tested two new weapon systems, a lightweight multiple-purpose missile launch system and multiple AI-guided tactical cruise missiles. To keep it simple, it means the regime tested multiple kinds of weapon systems, ballistic missiles and the power of a special mission warhead, the 240mm controlled artillery rockets with an expanded firing range, and the reliability of its ultra-precision autonomous navigation system, and a tactical cruise missile with the AI-guided accuracy control. One expert said the regime has been trying to boast of its capability against South Korea's and the U.S.'s missile defense systems.
So they are kind of showing their intention and showing their will, and also at the same time capability that they can simply get rid of all these missile defense systems by South Korea and the United States, because there's using variety of the missiles at the same time. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to defend those missiles.
Aside from the fact that Pyongyang carried out strikes using a mixed fire tactic, one more thing to note is that these missiles show the latest technology, including ultra-precise autonomous guidance navigation, terrain matching navigation, along with an AI-based guidance function. The expert says this shows the regime's efforts to have more precise weapons.
Kim Jong-un, especially the Ninth Party Congress, and he ordered that all the North Korean weapons, especially the missiles, should be more precise, which bring some high-tech technology to improve their capability, so that they have a more advanced the capability to attack the South Korea's important the target, including some headquarters of these armed forces.
The media also added that the tactical cruise missiles, capable of striking targets at a range of 100 kilometers, would be deployed to long-range artillery units positioned near the southern border.
Well, it definitely seems the North is continuing to pursue and develop its missile and nuclear capability. Bo-kyung, how is the South Korean government reacting to the latest launch?
Right. So Seoul keeps on urging Pyongyang to cooperate with the government's efforts for peace on the Korean peninsula. During the regular press briefing on the day North Korea launched the missiles, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the government had once again urged North Korea to respond positively to its peace policy and efforts to ease tensions. Listen to this.
Our government strongly supports stopping the spread of nuclear weapons. We will keep working with the international community to achieve the complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula through gradual and practical steps.
South Korea's unification minister Chung Dong-young also said that restoring the September 19th inter-Korean military agreement is the government's official policy and that the government's position has not changed.
I see. Well, meanwhile, I hear the foreign ministers of Quad gave remarks on North Korea recently. Tell us more about that.
Right. So on the day of North Korea's provocations, the foreign ministers of the Quad, made up of the U.S., India, Japan, and Australia, reaffirmed their commitment to denuclearization of North Korea. The top diplomats included the North Korean issue in the joint statement after the meeting held in India, urging the regime to comply with all its obligations under UN Security Council resolutions. They condemned North Korea's illegal development of ballistic missiles and weapons of mass destruction, and further added that they were seriously concerned about North Korea's malicious cyber activities and IT worker operations, which fund its illegal weapons of mass destruction and ballistic missile programs.
Alrighty, Bo-kyung, thank you for the wrap-up tonight.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we'll continue to see cloudy skies. With thick cloud cover, daytime temperatures will stay near seasonal norms, keeping conditions relatively mild. Conditions will gradually improve afterwards as clear skies return and temperatures begin to rise again. By Sunday, highs will reach 30 degrees Celsius, bringing back early summer heat. Another round of light rain of around 5 millimeters is forecast mainly for the central and southwestern regions from early tomorrow morning into the afternoon. Tomorrow, most areas will start the day below 20 degrees. Seoul will start the day at 19 degrees, Chuncheon at 17 degrees, Daegu at 18 degrees. Then by the afternoon, Seoul will get up to 26 degrees, Daegu at 27 degrees, Busan at 24 degrees. Toward the end of the week, daytime temperatures will start to climb, leading to large day-to-night temperature swings. But with these ups and downs in the weather, be sure to take care of your health. Now here's a look at the weather around the world.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.